we're here with our mascot, the Story Dude. So please, like the video, subscribe to Story Dude, and let's get into the stories.
Am I the asshole for leaving my sister and her husband on the side of the road? I come from a very sex-positive household. My parents taught my sister and I about sex, sexuality, and their non-vanilla lifestyle from a young age. They were very affectionate and touchy with each other in public and didn't, and still don't, seem to care about others' opinions. They lived a very non-conventional lifestyle and weren't afraid to flaunt it. On one hand, my parents never treated sex as a shameful subject. Therefore, I received a very comprehensive, inclusive, form of sex education. On the other hand, I think I was introduced to many topics at a very young age. In many ways, my sister, Angie, turned out like my parents. She proclaims that she's sex-positive, and has no qualms with openly discussing sex in great detail at every opportunity. She believes that if a person is uncomfortable, they must be a conservative virgin, prude who clearly hates all forms of self-expression. Her words. My wife, Zara, isn't a huge fan of PDA. Other than hand-holding or occasional kisses on the cheek, she isn't comfortable with doing much in public. We're also not the type of people to discuss our sex life with people, much less family. Angie doesn't like Zara. She believes that Zara is too conservative, prudish for our family. She often makes fun of Zara for looking embarrassed when she's discussing, in excruciating detail, about sex. Zara barely says anything, but Angie still manages to make fun of her. I don't speak to Angie much. Recently, Zara's brother passed away. Angie's husband, Bill, knew his partner and wanted to pass on his condolences. Zara, Angie, Bill, and I all wanted to attend his wake. Instead of taking separate cars, Angie suggested that we all go together. To be honest, I was not a huge fan of this idea. It was a 2-hour drive from where we lived to our destination. Also, we were planning on leaving very early so that we could help set up and were planning to leave late. We still managed to do it. At first, everything was all right. Understandably, no one was speaking in the car and it was very quiet in the car. Most people were keeping to themselves or sleeping. Midway through the drive, Angie and Bill start making out in the backseat of our car. When I say, making out, I mean, full-on, making out. They were pushing up against the car door and making all sorts of noises. Zara and I were extremely uncomfortable. I pulled over and started yelling at Angie. I told them that I was disgusted by their behavior and that they were acting like horny little teenagers. Angie said that they were grieving. I yelled at them to get out of my car. At first, they were protesting, but I was so angry and so tired of them already. I told them to find their way home by themselves. My parents think that I went too far with them and that Zara needs to loosen up in order to be a part of this family. Obviously, Angie and Bill are still extremely pissed. Edit. When I initially pulled over, I pulled over into a small petrol station that had a little cafe. Saying, "side of the road," was a poor choice of words and I apologize for all the confusion. Not the asshole. Sex positive means valuing consent, communication and being free to make informed choices about your body, without feeling judgment or shame. Nothing about what your sister is doing is sex positive. Continuing to discuss your sex life to someone in great detail, when they have expressed this makes them uncomfortable is not the one. Making out in a car with other people there who are clearly not consenting to that is odd. Sounds like someone needs to go and re-watch, or watch, T and consent. Not the asshole. They may be sex positive but not consent positive. Not the asshole. Wait, your wife's brother died. And her in-laws F$C king in her car, on the way to his funeral, is an expression of their grief. Honey, I have no words. Because I'd never deal with these idiots again. I wouldn't stop you from seeing your family. But they obviously don't care about your wife. Am I the asshole for not wanting my husband to walk his sister down the aisle? My husband, Mike, 37, is the eldest in his family. He's pretty close with his sister Beth, 28, and they spend almost all week together. Beth had issues with her father growing up. She went no contact with him after he took her first car and damaged it. She only remained in contact with Mike since everybody else judged her for going no contact. She's getting married to her fiancé of 3 years. From what I understand, she and her dad are slowly getting reconciled, but she made it clear she wants him to take no part in the wedding. She asked Mike if he could walk her down the aisle and he agreed. I have to say that I was taken aback and it felt a bit odd for me because, her dad is alive. They're on speaking terms again. He's gonna be there at the wedding, so the logical thing to do is have him walk her down the aisle. This role isn't for her older brother but her father. Not to mention how Phil will feel about it. I brought this up with Beth and she had an attitude and implied that I was just saying this and objecting because of how I feel about the situation, not how our traditions should be practiced. We got into an argument and I went home. Mike thinks I'm being unreasonable and possibly causing him to miss something so sentimental, and that if anything, he feels honored to be asked to do this for her, and said that I should stop worrying about what others might say. Now we're having this conflict, 3 of us, and cannot seem to reach a solution. You are the asshole. There are 3 places you can always stay for free. 1. In your lane. 2. Out of other people's business. 3. Over there with your nonsense. This is way out of your lane, it's none of your business, and no one is remotely interested in your nonsense. Why do you honestly care who she wants to walk her down the aisle? Do you have a problem with his sister? You are the asshole. The person who walks her down the aisle can be anyone that has played a big part in her life. You've acknowledged that your husband has been that for her. What does it matter who she chooses? It's not your wedding or your business. Am I the asshole for wanting my son to be treated equally and able to enjoy family meals with cousins? My son is 9 and has ARFID. We are working with many therapists in all areas, but it's slow developing. He has very few safe foods and they are all super processed, junk food. He used to have more foods, but when it changes, tastes different, he will no longer eat it. He ate one sour grape 7 years ago and still cries at the thought of eating another. It's bad. Anywho, we used to have family meals with my wife's extended family relatively often, a few times a month, maybe. We stopped when we realized eating in groups was making our son worse. Recently we have had a huge milestone, meaning he can eat in public again. He's super excited about it, and we've eaten out a few times since. McDonald's, mostly, but he's still in public. Anywho, my wife called her sister and asked if we could join their family meals again, maybe just once a month, to build his confidence. She said yes initially, and my wife told her we'd bring his food up so he could eat comfortably. My sister-in-law then backtracked, saying that wasn't going to be feasible. She claimed it was too unfair on the other kids to have to eat proper meals while he gets to snack on junk food. Which we obviously understand, but the youngest of the children is 8, and I feel like at that age it's easy to explain that he has additional needs. Which I mentioned to her. My wife got upset and left me to deal with the conversation. I told my sil straight that this wasn't him being treated better, it was a serious medical situation and it wouldn't be that hard to explain to the rest of the children that he has a different diet to them. She got increasingly upset, claiming that her children shouldn't have to be forced to watch him eat nicer food. I then told her my son shouldn't be forced to miss out on family meals, at which point she hung up. She later messaged my wife to inform her I was rude and wouldn't take no for an answer. My wife said I should have just accepted it when she hinted at not wanting him there. But I disagreed. I think he's just as deserving as everyone else. She got annoyed with me, then, and now I'm just wondering if what I said was really that bad. Am I the asshole? Blank. ______ETA. We have decided to not press the family get-togethers and are instead trying to organize smaller ones with my family. But I do just want to clear some things up. Some people seem to think we are pushing ourselves onto my sil's family meal. This isn't true. It is a family thing. My wife's parents and 2 other sisters with their kids, although they are all older teens. Regardless of who offers to host the family, the sil mentioned in this post consistently turns down everyone. The rest of my wife's family are not interested in meals without sil present because it feels like they're going behind her back. Hope this clears some stuff up. Apologies for lack of replies. Medically complex kid and all that. I mean, to be totally fair, your son wouldn't be treated equally if he's eating different food. And I do imagine it would be hard to explain to children why your son gets, for example, the McDonald's you picked up on the way over and they have to eat chicken and broccoli. I guess no assholes here though. You are the asshole. I'm sorry for your kid, but your sil is allowed to not want to deal with arguing about food with her kids because yours has a medical condition. Her youngest is 8. He's not going to care that your kid can eat shitty food and that he cannot. Your kid is not her responsibility or her issue to deal with. Find other family members or friends to have outings with. Am I the asshole for coming home early from meeting BF's parents? My boyfriend and I went to see his parents for the first time this weekend. It's Canadian Thanksgiving. We were supposed to stay Sat. Sun and fly back afternoon Monday. I'm writing this Sun night already back in my own bed. My BF's parents greeted us at the airport and brought us home. They then proceeded to ask me if I had drugs in my bag, and I was pretty shocked because who asks that? I said only Tylenol, and they nodded and showed us to our rooms, which meant I got the guest room and my boyfriend was to sleep in his old room. His parents were serving dinner, and during dinner I was asked to pay for my portion of the Thanksgiving dinner, $30. I was pretty shocked and angry because who does that? I've never been asked to pay for someone's ingredient fees when a guest at their place. I didn't answer and then confronted my boyfriend in his room and asked why I was asked to pay. He just says it's something they ask of their friends as well. When they have a barbecue, they ask people to pay their portion. Honestly, I'm shocked they have friends. I reminded him he has eaten at my parents' place dozens of times and was never asked to pay. He claimed if they asked he would have, but they never did. Because it's rude to do that to a guest. But his mom came and got me and escorted me to my room. I was fuming and looking for tickets home and texted my boyfriend to say I was going home tomorrow. He called me and begged me to stay, saying his family already don't like me for not agreeing to pay for dinner and I'm just making it worse. I ignored him and rebooked an early flight, which was very expensive, and got a cab to the airport in the morning. I told my friends this, who had confirmed they've never been asked to pay for a meal while they were a guest. And if they were struggling, why even invite me over? Is this normal practice? Their house was pretty big, I don't think it was a money thing for them. Hoo boy. Not the asshole. Congratulations, Op. You have received a rare and golden opportunity to view what your future with this man will look like. Don't take it lightly. Not the asshole, that is weird. But it's also weird that boyfriend didn't warn you. Does he seriously think this is a normal way for guests to be treated in someone's home? Not the asshole. Just start over with a different boy. This one's family already broke him. Why didn't he warn you? And what was the drugs question? Why didn't he pay for you? So many questions. Not the asshole.